Facebook Live show. So thanks for everyone that's tuned in. If you don't know me, my name is Kristen Hewitt. I don't know how you found me here on Facebook, maybe through my Literally Nothing post, or maybe you follow me through the Miami Heat. But I'm a freelance television host and reporter in South Florida. And I've been doing interviews with people for 20 years in sports broadcasting. So I thought it'd be fun to do an interview show here on Facebook Live. So I have lots of friends, luckily, who are kind enough to be my willing guinea pig guests. So today I want to introduce my wonderful guest, James Bates. Here he is. Everybody say hi to James. What's up, James? How are you?
Well, I'm really nervous now, Kristen. You didn't tell me it was your first Facebook Live, so that puts a lot of pressure on a guy.
It
but
does.
I'm also very proud because you have lots of friends. That's in the quote book because you just said you have lots of friends and you chose me to come on.
Well, I have lots of acquaintances, right? Lots of acquaintances that'll maybe do this. But, oh, look, Lauren's on. Dana's on. Go Gators. We already have a Gator fan, James. Say hi to Dana.
We're everywhere. Hi, Dana. I would type, but I can only do one thing at a time here.
I feel ya. I got to tell everybody. Let me do a proper introduction, though, okay? James Bates,
okay.
All SEC linebacker and team captain. He led the Florida Gators to the 1996 national championship, but that was just the beginning. James is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning television announcer, an artist. You can see him in his art studio there. A dad of 3, a comedian, and now a college professor. Everyone, there he is, James Bates.
Dun, 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 dun. Wow.
How are you? How's your summer going? What is the summer like for the Bates family? What do you guys do in the summer?
Well, we're in Florida and we're in Gainesville, so we sweat, but we don't mind it. We're not very tough with cold weather. We lived in Colorado for a little bit, so I'll take the heat over the cold anytime. But it's crazy as usual, and as you well know, we've got 2 swimmers in the house. Our son just graduated from high school, and he'll go to UNF in the fall. Loves to fish, so we had to be close to the water. So he's there in Jacksonville, and he's working. He fishes in a lot of kayak tournaments. I'm proud of him, really proud of him. He's big time, and hopefully he'll have a career in fishing one day. He practices enough, and so things are going well for him. I'm excited for him to launch off and go to school. It kind of comes and goes, being sad that he's gone. It goes without saying. It just blows me away that.
Did he actually leave for college already? Did he already leave for school?
Right. And Kristen, when we used to work together at Sunshine Network, I mean, Jake was a baby in those days.
I know.
And so it goes really fast, as you're finding out. And then we have 2 daughters as well, a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they're both swimmers. So now that we have a 16-year-old, it's a little bit different because she drives, so she can go to a lot of those early practices and take her sister. And it was really a weird feeling, to tell you the truth, because when she turned 16, we felt kind of useless. We're like, well, wait, we don't have to get up at 4:30, and we started missing waking up at 4:30 and taking her in. It's just, I mean, we're so proud of her, proud of all of our kids, proud of both of our swimmers. And my wife, I married a swimmer, and Tina's from Decatur, Illinois, and came down to Florida to swim, and that's how we met. And we would go and drop them off, and we felt guilty going home and going to sleep, so we'd just go work out ourselves. So we got in pretty good shape, and now we kind of, sometimes we'll hear them out in the kitchen and feel guilty, so we'll just get up and see them off. And sometimes we're a little bit too tired, and we'll just let them head on out the door. But it's fun, but a lot of swimming this summer, to answer your question.
That's got to be weird, though, to have a child old enough to go to college. I mean, first of all, you've got to be a little bit scared sending him away from home. But I don't know, like, do you guys feel old for the first time? I mean, you had your kids really young, right? How old were you when Jake was born? You were in your early 20s, right?
Probably 25. I think we were 25 when he was born.
Right.
And I don't know. Sometimes I think sometimes I feel old with the aches and pains, when I was your age. I'm probably, I don't know that I'll ever truly grow up So on that front, it kind of helps a little bit. Like, I would rather drive a carpool full of kids than ride with a few adults somewhere. It's just more fun to try to make the kids laugh. And you know, when I get some of their friends that laugh at my jokes, they're my favorites. Like Luke Matthews. Remember Shane Matthews? He played for the Gators way back then. His son Luke laughs at all my jokes. And so Luke's welcome over anytime. And I just love being around kids. And anytime, especially when our kids were in elementary school, when it was welcome to go up, and they had a morning news channel, and I would go up and help out with that. And any excuse to hang out with them and their friends is really fun. And so, as you can imagine, now our 16-year-old never is really that embarrassed of dad. I mean, she's cool with pretty much everything. But our 14-year-old, I've got to be invited every now and then with Georgia. And so, you know, it's pick and choose where I can get in and hang out. But I still try out some of my lame jokes on all of them. And sometimes they pass, sometimes they don't. They never pass with Georgia, though. It's got to be great for Georgia to like it.
Are you still doing your old school rap with them? Still embarrassing your kids with that in the car?
Well, but the thing is Georgia, see, that's where Georgia's my girl, because Georgia is our only kid that will sit and really hang with some old school, late 80s, early 90s rap. And I mean, and she's kind of wired like me, where she can remember useless song lyrics like that. And, you know, I mean, like Eric B. and Rakim stuff, not just stuff like Rob Bass or MC Hammer. I mean, she can like spit lyrics like, I take 7 MCs, put them in a line, and has 7 more brothers who think they can run a little, take 7 more before I can go from mine, and that's 21, and she's 8 about the same time. She can recite lyrics like that. It's just like, you talk about a proud dad, like, oh, and but none of the others, they won't watch any movies with me. She watches like Breakfast Club and all these 80s movies with me, and like,
oh, have you shown her 16 Candles?
She's my girl there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, who's harder to raise? You have a son in college. Who's harder to raise, boys or girls? Did I stump you?
Yeah. It's tough because I think, you know what, I really think that each kid is individual. Each one has their own unique challenges. Jake, really one of the toughest things with Jake is he has, from the day he was born, it seems, he has been drawn to the water. And he has to be around the water. He has to fish. He has to be a scavenger. He has to go dig through the mud. And with him, at all stages, you know, when he was 5 and we finally got comfortable with, we're at the beach and where's Jake? Oh, I have no idea. Where we stopped kind of freaking out because we knew that he was somewhere in the mud happy. But it's like, you know, and then he would start when he was 10, 11 years old. We'd be staying somewhere over at the beach, and, you know, a 60-year-old man would knock on the door at 7 in the morning, and like, hello? He's like, yeah, is Jake here? He wanted me to teach him how to throw a cast net this morning. I mean, he just always recruited anybody that could make him a better fisherman and teach him about fishing. And so as he grew up and as he started to drive, it wasn't just letting him just run. It was being comfortable with letting him drive all over the state of Florida because he has this tournament. And so at 17 years old, he was sponsored by these kayak companies, and they would, you know, I mean, he's basically on their pro team, so he would have to go fishing these tournaments. And we had to get okay with him just driving, you know, getting up at 3:30 in the morning to drive somewhere so he could launch at a decent time. So he's always been a free spirit, and he's definitely addicted to fishing. And at 19 years old, we're very fortunate, very blessed that that's his main thing, the thing that he just is eaten up with, and sometimes can't pay attention to us because fishing's on his brain, but that's fine. We'll deal with that. Talia, our 16-year-old, is such a rule follower. She's so coachable, and she, because of that, she became at a young age a very good swimmer, but sometimes you got to get on her where it's like, stop worrying that, like, you know, that you ate at McDonald's one time last week, and like, you know, and kind of trying to get her to laugh at herself and relax a little bit. So the challenge with her has been for her to just relax and settle down a little bit and not be such a rule follower, really.
I can't believe you're trying to tell your kids not to follow the rules. That's so interesting because most parents would love for their kids to follow the rules.
I know, but we just, I mean, it really is. It really is. She is, Kristen, she's the hardest worker I've ever been around. And I played a lot of football. My dad coached in the NFL for a long time. He coached football my whole life growing up. And I'm not blowing smoke when I say that she just enjoys the grind of everything. I mean, when she's at home, and swimming is such a tough sport, and I would never. And your kids are getting into swimming and diving now, and we talked yesterday, and it's such a tough sport where if our kids ever didn't want to swim, then I would never in a million years force them to swim because it's just so grueling. And anybody that's never really been around it, you can't even explain how tough it is. Like Tina, when we were dating, my wife, when we were dating in college, she came to one of our football practices one time, and afterwards she said, "I can't believe you guys actually stand around." Because they never stop if you think about it. They'll go in the morning for 2.5 hours, and it's just grind, 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 grind. And then again in the afternoon, and weights in between. So you really better like it, or you better be a little bit kooky to be a good swimmer.
It's interesting you said that, James, and I don't mean to get off topic because she still didn't answer my question, who's harder to raise, boys or girls? But you were talking about how difficult sports are. And Lauren, by the way, Lauren's watching, and her son ran in the room to watch our video because he heard you say that your kids don't follow the rules. But say hi to Lauren, by the way, and Eli and Samuel. They're probably watching.
Hi, Lauren. Young man who listens to your mom, Lauren. She knows what she's talking about.
Amen. But, it's interesting you said that swimming is a harder sport. I don't know if you saw, there's massive articles being written today in the New York Times about all the brain damage and brain disease from men that play football. Did you see that article?
I did.
What do you think about that? It's interesting. I'd like to get your perspective. I know your son is a fisherman. I don't know if he ever played football, but did you let your son play football? And how do you feel about those findings?
It was, when he was coming up, it was never really, it wasn't, he was just before really everybody really started diving into, the depth of these brain injuries. And I feel it. I mean, I feel it all the time. I have where I get a little bit cloudy at times, and when I'm working with my podcasting, I feel like I've got to focus extra hard sometimes. But who knows? I'll be 44 this summer, and I know that it's there. I know who I am. I know I'm already a little bit different to begin with. Maybe it's kind of like sent, even further askew because of all the knocks to the head, and they just call him, "Oh, Hank, no, this is Kristen's first live Facebook Live, Hank. You can't mess it up like that. Respect." Okay. And so, in football, it's tough because I almost like let's look at it like this: if I had it to do all over again, I think I absolutely would play football. I'm scared to death of anything near my head, my wife's head. I just don't like seeing people get hit in the head anymore. And believe it or not, there actually are a lot of concussions in swimming, especially when you get to some of these bigger meets when they're in these warm-up lanes, because there's so many people crowded into a lane. There's not a lot of lane space. And so when they're in the warm-down pool, they'll back and forth, fast, and they conk heads quite a bit. They're probably on their swim club team right now. There are probably 2 or 3 kids that have dealt with some concussions. A good friend of George's I know was out of swimming for a while, and it's so.
I would have never
glad
guessed
they're
that. I would think that there's concussions from soccer with headers and concussion from football and even baseball, kids getting hit with the balls, but I would have never thought swimming. That's interesting. And it's interesting that you said you would do it all over again. And I want to point out to those of you who don't know James, yeah, Lauren, I would have never guessed that either. James has an incredible personality. He is probably the most enigmatic television broadcaster I know. He does parody skits for the University of Florida. And James and I haven't told people watching how we know each other. We used to work together at Sunshine Network, and we've kept in touch for, 15 years now. And you're now, I want to get to your art, and then I want to talk about school, because you're in your art studio. And by the way, this is the first time we can see your lovely face because your signal wasn't strong. So there's James, everyone. There you go. We finally get to see you. So tell everybody, you started something. I'm going to put your name of your company up. It's called Batesy Paint. And you went from being a football player to a television announcer to an artist. How did this start? When did you start painting?
Well, my roommate in college, his name was Eric Kresser. He was Danny Warhol's backup, and he majored in art.
I remember him.
You do remember Kresser?
I remember he used to date a girl we worked with at Sunshine Network, remember?
That's right, and now actually she works at Fox Sports South in Atlanta. And
You still see her?
I still see her, yeah.
Well, Erin Carlson, if you're watching, hi.
Hi, Erin. I'll see you soon. And so
yeah.
he majored in art, and I probably should have majored in art because I was always drawing in class when I should have been paying attention to studying anyway. But I just was always doodling. If somebody on the team would get in trouble, we'd have a big dry erase board in the locker room, and I'd do a cartoon of them getting in trouble or for some reason that weekend. And so Eric, right after we graduated from college, I asked him to do a painting of a river in East Tennessee where Tina and I got engaged. And he said he would. And then as we got closer and closer to Christmas, it was going to be a Christmas present. He said, "Oh, man, I'm so busy." He goes, "I'll tell you what, I'll teach you how to build a canvas, and you can do it yourself. You like to paint, you like to draw." And so just doing that piece, I just knew then that I would do a lot more. I just loved everything about it. And about the same time, I was actually working on a film down in South Florida, and I went into all these galleries down like Lincoln Square Mall area.
Lincoln Road.
Okay, Lincoln Road, and like big, beautiful pieces that I never could afford, but I just had to have art and had to have these big pieces and all this color. And so I just really kept on going from there. And I've always been like a storyteller, I feel like even with my work, I went over into the play-by-play chair from the analyst chair because I felt like I could storytell and kind of steer the ship a little bit. And hey, when we come back from break, give me a shot of this guy because I want to tell this story that I dug up. And I'd always get ready for a game, and I'd have the X's and O's in place, but I'd always go sidetrack and some human interest story that I really wanted to tell, but I never got to tell it. So it kind of led to not just the landscapes and the abstract structures, but a little bit more folk art. So I'm all over the place, which if you've been watching for the last 10 minutes, maybe that's an ongoing theme here, but it's kind of, I think it's good maybe that I didn't have formal art training because I think I'd feel guilty that, oh, I can't go from this style to this style because you're not supposed to. And that's what's kind of nice is what I feel like creating and what I feel like doing. But I do know one thing is that I have to create. Like I'm to a point to where, oh my gosh, like if I don't create or draw or paint something during a day, I about start flopping around like a fish. I just kind of have to have it. And so that's why I'm a little bit worried when I get into the fall and I'll teach my class and then I'll go into calling my games. I'm going to have to do some drawings on the road or something. Sometimes I'll take my paints on the road, and it helps to kind of sate that thirst a little bit.
That's interesting. I didn't know you used to draw back in school. I thought this was something you developed afterwards. Okay, so you're in your art studio. I want you to I don't know if you can show us around. I know you're back in the back of your house at your art studio. That's why your signal's not perfect. But do you want to show us some? Because you told me a great story about a painting. So show us around. Show us some of the things you painted. And if anybody wants to go to James' website, it's batesypaint.com, right?
That's right, with that 8. There you go. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, so Well,
I'm gonna take
too.
me off. Hold on, let me make you full screen. There you go.
Okay. And you let me know if
Oh no, did we
it goes out and you can't see anything.
Okay, we can see you now. It's kind of breaking up.
Okay. Well, there's Hank. Hank's my painting partner. Hank, can you say hi? Hank.
Hey, Hank.
There's Big Hank. He's a Catahoula. And I've got you flipped around now, so hopefully you can see. These are a few landscapes. Hopefully you're seeing those okay.
Yeah, now we see them. Pretty. And what do you paint on? Do you paint on wood or canvas?
It depends. I like using wood. These are pretty much all canvas. But this is wood. And then most of my folk art pieces are wood. And here they are back here. So there's one more house right there. I just had a show. We had in Gainesville, we had a studio tour, kind of like a parade of homes type of thing. And the people would come around to the
people came to visit your studio?
Yeah, it was really neat because I've got so much stuff, and I've actually got an Airstream like this. I have an old truck.
Cool.
I have an old Airstream that I gutted and turned into a mobile art gallery. So I had that outside, and a lot of paintings in there. And let's see. So here's okay. So here, I'm not supposed to tell too many people, I'll put it that way, yet. But a nice surprise that I'm so proud of. My artwork, one of my Spurrier pieces will be on the cups, the souvenir cups in the swamp this fall. And I can't wait. I can't imagine.
You know you're big when your artwork is on a cup, James. You've made it.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Well, like I've got a piece that I was commissioned to do for the University of Florida, Dr. Fox, for the new president, for his house that hangs in his place. It's a great big piece. And I'm starting to kind of get to where I've got some, when you see these artists, these famous artists, and they have like these actors and athletes that collect them, and when in their bio, it always says, works in the private collection of, Dennis Quaid or whoever else. And so I've got like Billy Donovan, A.J. Krasinski, the Major League Baseball catcher. He bought one from me. And I had never met him. He tracked me down, said he wanted to buy one.
That's
Dr.
pretty cool.
Fox, but I've got quite a few like
That's
that.
awesome.
And so I started the cup story because they wanted me to incorporate the word chomp at the University of Florida. It's a big deal. Chomp, 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 gator chomp. And so this was one right here. This was I didn't turn this one in, the chomp they ass. I didn't turn it because I knew they would turn it down, but I went ahead and painted it anyway. I thought that it would be fun, and Coach McElwain has those big chompers, so so I thought that would be a good one there. There's Coach Spurrier, and about this time he would always give us during two-a-day camp. He would always give us this big speech. And he would always say, shoot, you guys are using the F word too much. And he always made it for us not to use that F word so much. He'd tell us a few words that we could use, just not that one. There's Derek Brooks. See, I'm not going to hate on those Seminoles, especially a guy like Derek Brooks, who has done so many wonderful things for everybody, the kids in Tampa. What a great guy he is.
Yes,
and
definitely.
There's LP, Lawrence Taylor. There's the Boz.
Oh my God, James, I have to tell you a Lawrence Taylor story. Can I tell you an LT story really fast?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I'm at the gym working out at my old house, and there's this guy in a white sweatsuit, right? Like head to toe, white headband, long sleeves. He's like, it's like 99 degrees out, and he's like in a winter suit, and he's doing the elliptical, and I'm doing my my glute exercises, and he was telling me I need to do squats instead of lunges, and I was like, I got it, buddy, I know what I'm doing, and he's trying to tell me how to work out. I had no clue it was Lawrence Taylor. So he was following me around the gym telling me what to do to work out, and I was like, I got it. So my trainer told me who he was. And I didn't even remember him from playing football. I said, oh, is that the guy that admitted to doing cocaine on Barbara Walters? Like, I swear, I didn't remember him. But it's funny that you immortalized him in his football days because he's gone on to do so many other things. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic, but I just always thought it was so funny that I didn't know who he was.
And was this was up in North Carolina?
No, this is here in South Florida. He had a house down here in South Florida.
Okay.
Sorry, I just got totally off topic. Sorry, friends listening. I know that was a very interesting.
No, that's all right. Take notes. Hey, so what we've learned today from LT is do squats instead of lunges, and don't do crack, right? And you're all set. No, that was really interesting, Kristen.
Thank you.
Actually, so I wanted to show you. I was telling you last night. Well, here's a story. We've been talking about the kids quite a bit.
So tell me this story. Hold on, you broke up for a second. Are you there? Are you there?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are. Okay, you're back.
I'm here.
Okay, so tell us the story you told me yesterday because it's awesome.
Uh-oh.
You're there.
Maybe I should. Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
Woo! Okay. Well, before I show you this one, last night, Lily King is this girl, a swimmer that kicks so much butt. She swims at Indiana, but she won gold in the Olympics, and she was the girl, if you remember anybody out there that was doing the no to the girl, the Russian girl.
Yes, she was the girl.
Yes, and she who had tested positive so many times for steroids, and she whooped her in the final, and then she gave her the no. And I'm actually getting the chills thinking of it. So I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version of yesterday because they're in Humphrey right now at Worlds, and both of my daughters were freaking out, and they're like, "Dad, you got to see this." So the Russian beat Lily King in the semifinals and was a 100th off of the world record in the 100 breast. After this semifinal, she looked over at Lily King and gave her the no. So the finals were that night, and when they're introducing everybody, Lily King just stands there, like everybody's facing the pool, loosening up. You know how the swimmers do it. And Lily King just stands there staring down the Russian. I mean, it was like Rocky and Drago all over again. Just
awesome. It was awesome.
She goes on and she waxes her in this final, and Lily breaks the world record. And so my daughters were so stoked about it. So I was working on a couple other things, and I immediately dropped everything, and I painted this last night. Just because she was such a badass with it all. So make sure is it all in there right now?
Yeah, I see it. It's awesome. She's doing the finger wag. I see the finger.
Yeah, the finger wagging. Lily King does not collude with the Russians. So
that's poignant, especially with everything going on with our president today.
Right. So that's all you hear about is who's colluding with the Russians these days. Well, there's one young lady who doesn't, Lily King. And,
awesome.
Another thing that we were talking about, and I promised that I would share with you and everybody watching here today, was this young lady right here. Her name is Terry McKeever. And here, this will be nice. I'll pull out my little scooting chair. And boom. Okay, so Terry McKeever, she's the head swim coach at Cal. And Berkeley's way out there. We had heard some really neat things about her, and in swimming, it's a whole lot like we talked about earlier. It's a whole lot of just grinding and miles and miles. Who swims more, and kind of. And there's not a whole lot of. I don't know. Like, well, she'll go and she'll take the team. They'll go do yoga on the beach every now and then, or they'll go surfing, and you just kind of read some really neat things about her. Just kind of different in the swimming world. It really is. So Talia, our 16-year-old, she's a pretty good swimmer. So she's starting to get recruited by a lot of different schools. And we decided she had to meet in Santa Clara. We'd go on an unofficial visit to Stanford and to Cal. And so I was excited to meet Terry McKeever. We sat there, and I mean, she was everything that we had hoped. And the facilities there at Cal are beautiful. They've got a brand new big extra practice pool. And when we were getting up to leave, sat there for about an hour or so, and Terry goes to Talia. She says, "Oh, you're tall." She goes, "You're going to get taller too." And she goes, "And look at you. Look at the way you carry yourself. Look at your posture." She goes, "I love that." She said, when girls get your age and they get taller than the other girls, or they get taller than some of the boys, what do? they hunch and they're embarrassed because they're taller, but you're proud and you own it. She said, just own it, girl, just own it. And I just so much of what we do is just about that with our kids. And so I came home and I had to do a painting of Terry McKeever and her own it. And I got to send that to her.
That's awesome.
But it really was neat. I think more people, not just young girls, but people just the sooner that people realize that they are who they are and to just own it and to do with what God gave you the best you can and just own who you are. Just make the most out of everything. I think it's a pretty good rule to live by. So that was pretty special for her to say that. I had to paint something.
And that had to mean a lot to your daughter, too, to hear that, especially if she's taller. And, I'm sure she's felt it. Is she taller than all of her friends?
Pretty much, yeah. She was Georgia kind of was, I guess, right on track with growing. But Talia, it took her a while to grow. The poor girl, she's 16. And last, I guess it was about 6 or 7 months ago, she had 4 teeth pulled because she's just such a late bloomer, and that she wanted to get her braces on, and so they got rid of some of the baby teeth. She still hadn't lost them, but she's finally started to really grow.
Yeah. So let's talk about sports for a second, and then I'll let you get going. And I want to talk to you about your teaching too. But obviously your son, I know he played baseball and he fishes. Your daughter swim. You played football. Tell everybody your wife was a swimmer at Florida too, right? Is she a swim coach now too, Tina?
She is. Tina is the head swim coach for Buchholz High School, and they're back-to-back state champions on the girls' side. And Georgia, our youngest, will be a freshman on that team this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty exciting.
So you obviously are a family of athletes. You come from football pedigree. Your dad coached. So I guess my question for you is, I have young girls that they're late bloomers with sports. They didn't necessarily like playing sports until they got a little bit older. So how important is it for you? Like, I never like to use the word should, like your kids should play sports, but I personally think all kids need to try sports because they can learn so many valuable lessons. What's your take on it? Do you think all kids should try sports? And if your kids didn't want to play sports, would you have been okay with that?
Yeah, our thing was always they're going to do something team related while they're living with us through high school. And then, if you got somebody that had a kid that, couldn't quite walk across the street and chew gum at the same time, it just, sports weren't meant for them, and they were in the band, and now you got a club, the passion, just, that they really love being a part of. That's what I would say. It's just being a part of something and really, and wrapping your arms around an activity and just outside of just your school and just being home. That was always our big thing. And it always it just happened to be sports. Like you said, we an athletic family, and it would have been maybe a little bit odd. And our son, he had an injury about a year ago, and he didn't play baseball his senior year because of an injury that he had. But he fished, so hard that became his activity, and that was kind of what he did. But that would be my thing. Is it doesn't necessarily have to be sports. It's just you're going to do something, and especially this day and age. These kids they live their lives through social media, and it's tough because if you take everything away from them, then you're really handcuffing them for the rest of their life, because that's the way everything operates. That's where the jobs are. That's how you network and everything. But at the same time, you want them to be able to look somebody in the eye. You want them to be able to greet somebody and to smile, know how to shake somebody's hand. And so it's tough, and it's especially tough with the swimmers because, our youngest, Georgia, she'll have a practice 2 hours in the morning and then another one that afternoon. And so in between, a lot of times we want her to rest, we want her to take a nap, and sometimes while she's resting, she's texting or Snapchatting or whatever with all of her friends. And, you almost feel like, well, if that's what she wants to do, it's not like she's not working her tail off for 5 other hours of the day. If that's what she chooses to do in her free time, then, so it gets kind of tough because she's gotten to where she really likes it a lot. And I'm going to share something with you. She would get so mad at me if she knew I told you this. But so I came home today. I was thinking, because we were going to do this interview, I was thinking, I got to tell Kristen this. So I came home and she was watching a YouTube video on how to fold her panties. And I'm like, what are you doing, Georgia? And she's like, it'll save a lot of room, because she's going to a big swim meet. And you know, like when you're in the store and they've got them rolled up like a little Tootsie Roll thing. And I'm like, she goes, it'll save a lot of space when I pack. I said, look at this thing. It's like a little napkin. I'm like, what are you talking about? You need to learn how. And she's sitting there watching a YouTube video on how to like fold them up into these little rolls. Oh man, but
I can think of other things that you could learn to fold, like your pants. But yeah, that's definitely. You know, I have to admit, I've kept my kids off of YouTube. They're 8 and 5, and I really try to keep them off technology. But it's hard. Like my 8-year-old, she was in 2nd grade. She's going into 3rd grade. 2 of her best friends in 2nd grade, we're talking 8-year-olds, already had phones with Instagram accounts and Snapchat.
Oh.
And I'm like, you're 8. And I went on one of the kids' Instagram account because it wasn't private. She's 8. And there's a selfie of my 8-year-old with her daughter going like this, already doing the duck face thing that I just hate. Like, I hate the duck face selfie thing. Oh my God, I don't want to get my kids cell phones. I'm going to try to hold it out as long as I can. But I know you and I have talked about this before on our 2-minute drill. You gave your kids cell phones relatively early, right? Like around 10?
I think, well, with Jake, and I'm going to move over and plug my cell phone in because I don't want to lose you here in a second. But I think with Jake, we were able to wait longer. With Talia, oh shoot, what would it have been? It probably, with her, she would have been 12 or 13. And then, you know, and I mean, shoot, it's tough too, because you get to where you need them to be able to get a hold of you, and you want them to be safe, and you know they can always get a hold of you. And if they have a phone with them. And Georgia went out, and she got hers earlier. So if she's 14 now, she's probably about 11 when we let her get a phone. And it's tough.
Okay, so do you do chores to pay for it, or do you pay for it? Did you make them do chores to pay for their phone?
We pay for it, but we hold it. You know, it's nice to, like with Jake, you know, he's kind of going off to school, like this, and this. It's very nice to have, because they all know how expensive it is, and they do. Again, it's not easy being a swim dad, because they work so hard. I'm serious.
That's the quote of the interview. It's not easy being a swim dad. Out of all the jobs you do, right? You're an artist, you're a television broadcaster, you're a teacher, you're a dad. Is being a swim dad the hardest thing you do?
Oh, it's a wash, because it's so rewarding, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so proud of swimmers. I love, my wife jokes all the time that I was supposed to be a swimmer, and I love swimming, and I'm not very good, but I just, when I was in college, and we all lived in Yon, all the male athletes lived in Yon Hall, in the stadium there, Van Griffin Stadium at Florida. I would always hang out with the swimmers, because swimmers are always a little bit kind of kooky, because they have to be, because they train so hard and stuff anyway. And I've always been drawn to swimmers. I've got a 10-foot tall Michael Phelps painting in our house that, like, I just had to paint during the Olympics. And, like, you know, no one really wants to buy a 10-foot tall Michael Phelps painting, but I just had to do it. And
you gotta send it to him. Did you watch the Shark Week thing? Did I?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're there. Did you see the Shark Week where he swam against the sharks?
Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer. I don't know what we expected, but like,
I know, but how much do you think he got paid for that? He had to have gotten paid a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said to my daughters, I said, I'll bet you he's. Uh-oh, I lost you there for a second.
No, you're there.
Yeah, so it's, you know, and look at him. He deserves, you see all this money that these basketball players, baseball players, football players, swimmer there ever was. So that came from because.
Hey, James, I hate to end our broadcast, but you're kind of breaking up. I don't know if there's a better place in your studio for a signal. I actually only had one more question for you. I just wanted to talk to you.
You asked that last question, and I unplugged you, and that's why because of the, I had to go plug in. So if I break up, I'm gone because I ran out of juice.
Okay, well, last question. You are now a professor at the University of Florida, which is so interesting to me because I know you used to be a color analyst and a sideline reporter, and now you're doing what I consider to be the hardest job in broadcasting, is play-by-play. I mean, play-by-play, you're always on. Is that what you're doing for college football now, play-by-play, right?
Well, I'm back in the analyst chair the last couple of years with an ACC schedule, but yeah, for the longest time, I did all play-by-play for football, basketball, and baseball, and really anything else.
It's a hard job. You're always on.
Yeah, and but to me, there was something about it because while I grew up with, my dad coached forever, my brother, he still coaching, like truly a student of the game, just like lived and died. And there's not too far in the broadcast booth as an analyst, and you're there at the end of the day to entertain, and I feel so strongly about anytime you're doing anything in a studio, especially with all the places, all the sources that these people have to get this information on this game or this league or this team, you better be entertaining and you better look like you're having a good time, or otherwise why in the world would I stick around and watch your show? And I mean, like, I know when I sit down in the studio living out their dreams of playing college football, that is a dream come true for me, and it's a lot of people would love to have that job. So I wanted to kind of like come across that I really appreciate where I am, and I'm really thankful, and I'm really happy to be there. And I try so hard for that to come across on the shows that I do anytime I do anything on TV.
Well, I think you do. I mean, that's why people love you. I mean, ever since we met you and we started working together.
I'm sorry, Kristen. I'm sorry. What was that last sentence? You were breaking up on me again. What did you say?
We love you. You're so good. Do you want some more adoration?
Oh, yeah. No.
All right, James. I don't know if you're still there. You're there. You're now teaching at the University of Florida. You have a play-by-play class. I was so excited to see that. And did you tweet out that you were like the most popular class at the University of Florida now? Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, one of my students from last year sent out a tweet to his 200 followers.
Woohoo!
That said, this is the best class at UF, and it's not even close. So wow. I then tweeted out myself, I was just reading on social media, that my class was voted the best and it wasn't even close. And I wasn't lying, was I? I did read that on social media.
But, I'm actually really envious because I've always wanted to teach. I've always wanted to go back and teach kids broadcasting because I have such a passion. I mean, I've been in the business 20 years. I have such a passion for it. But what made you, I want to let you go. I don't want to keep you all day. But what made you decide to teach? I mean, and what do you get out of it? I mean, you must be so busy. How do you find the time?
Came to me, Ted Spiker, who's the chair of the College of Journalism, a great guy there at UF. Last fall, I guess, sent me an email. Hey, we're thinking of creating this class, and we'd love to have you teach it. And hopefully I can package this right. What went through my mind? What went through my mind was the class that I am going to teach, everything that I want to share with these kids, and everything that like you're saying, all of this stuff that you kind of take for granted, that you prepare, and all these things that you've learned, plunge and soak it all in. Last spring, in its own little way, it's going to make the University of Florida even better. And if I'm being recruited by the University of Florida, or just trying to pick a college, there was a class like this attractive. And I immediately felt that way, and it blew me away. I knew I was excited, I knew I was going to have fun, but it was just an honor. I mean, to say that do it again in the fall, that's right. Take that question mark off of there. And so in the fall, and I said, hey, fall, and they said, oh, next busy in the fall. I do it again. So right now I have them send in all the kids that want to apply a 2-minute video on why they want to be in the class. So it's kind of fun. Even if somebody's not very good on camera, they're on, they're hungry. That's all to get better. And we did a lot of storytelling. A story ready to tell. And I don't care what it's about. It doesn't have to be sports. Just something you care about, something you're passionate about. You have to be able to story. Go sit down with somebody. When you need to.
Hey, James, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think I've lost you. I can see you, but I'm having a hard time hearing you. So I don't know. Can you still hear me?
I lost you.
I can't hear you. All right. I can't hear you. So I'm going to show up. Are you there? I'm going to tell everybody to go to your website, BatesiePaint.com. Everybody go see James. Follow him on Twitter, James Bates. You see him there. Yes, Gator. He's awesome. He's a wonderful friend, play-by-play announcer, college professor, artist. Check out his artwork at BatesiePaint.com. James, thank you for being my guinea pig. I don't know if you can still hear me, but thank you for being my guinea pig on the first ever Facebook Live. I think I'm calling the show the YAP. I'm not sure, though. So if you're watching, you guys have to see what he's doing. If you're watching still, leave a comment. Let me know if you like that name. And thanks to everyone for watching. If you're a Gators fan, please share this with your friends. Please let them know I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. I'm going to try to get some fun guests. I don't know if anyone can live up to James Bates because he's clearly the best guest in the world there entertaining us. But thanks so much to you, James, if you can hear me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to call you in a minute when I hang up here on Facebook Live. And thanks to all of you for watching. I really appreciate your support. And, leave me comments, share this. I'll leave you now. I'm going to say goodbye, but I'll leave you now with James doing his stretches. There you go. Mr. Artist doing his stretches. All right, James, thanks so much. I'm going to call you in a little bit. And thanks to everyone at home who's watching. Again, please like, share, comment, and let me know who you'd like me to talk to next. I'm going to call athletes, celebrities, friends, moms, anyone. If you want to be interviewed, drop it in the comments too. Okay, everybody, have a great day. We'll see you next week here Wednesday at 1 p.m. Bye. Are you still there?